at the beginning. Stockton did the dives by himself in Titan.
Okay. Got the recorder on. Voice recorder is on. It is 3:55 a.m.
In the new Netflix documentary, we see footage for the first time ever of Stockton Rush in a way that we've never seen him before, alone in his baby, in his submersible, experiencing what appears to be existential terror.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear. Thoughts build up until I can't feel. My mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Look at him here, flashlight in hand, so deep beneath the ocean's surface, he might as well be on the moon. Meanwhile, the vessel around him is starting to snap, crackle, pop, and bang. And though Stockton would later say it's what he expected, that he was seasoning the hull, I'm not sure if he or anyone really ever got used to it.
That will get your attention.
In some of this footage, he looks scared, looks even haunted. He sounds scared and even gives voice to his fears in no uncertain terms. And wouldn't you be scared? Wouldn't you quit while you were ahead? Would you persist in going deeper, hearing those noises? You know, if you were in his position, alone in the dark, in an experimental craft, with material ill-suited to extreme compressive forces, going down to depths that no craft had ever reached before, and you're hearing this material groaning, creaking, telling you in no uncertain terms that it's not used to these sorts of forces. And then you hear him say, as long as it doesn't crack, I'm okay. And also adds, that will get your attention. But of course it was cracking. That's all it was doing. And although the popping and cracking got Stockton's attention, it didn't seem to keep it. And that has been, in a sense, the big mystery to this case, and the man and his motives behind it. What was driving him? How was he able to sublimate his fears, almost like a boxer going into the boxing ring, being punched in the face, being bloodied and injured, and yet just staying out there and taking it and weathering it? Why? Why was he doing this? Before we get to the rest of this analysis, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. A warm welcome to the many of you who have subscribed. If you find this analysis worthwhile, please do hit the thanks button. I'll give you a moment to consider doing that. And let's get started. All right, so this is a side to Stockton that I think many miss. This maverick working late at night and through all hours into the early morning, putting his own life on the line. Can you see that he was clearly smart enough to know that what he was doing was very risky? And guess what? The son of a gun sort of pulls it off. He does defy the odds.
Unbelievable. 38 meters, Dana.
If the story ended here, Stockton Rush could have emerged quite legitimately as a hero. He may not have been the first person to walk on Mars, as he said he once imagined he could be, and he wanted to be, but he had broken a few records. And not small ones either. He could have put himself in the Guinness Book of World Records. Of course, he had broken his sub as well, but nevertheless done something quite remarkable, and for a fraction of the price of most other deep diving subs. Or if he got this far and then made substantial changes to the design and to the materials going forward, the story may have evolved even further. It would have taken a lot longer, but it may have turned out quite differently. Those sounds, that sigh. Stockton does seem to lose his nerve at this point on dive 39. And at this point is virtually at the halfway point to the fatal dive. The goal was 4,200 meters on dive 39, and Stockton calls it even prior to 4,000 meters. And somehow this failure becomes a success regardless. It's actually fascinating, this glimpse into Stockton returning to the surface, shaken but apparently not stirred. And as soon as he has his hero moment, Everyone applauding, everyone cheering, everything is suddenly worth it. And the science and the common sense, the logic storm he surely had just weathered, recedes into the warm fuzziness of being validated and congratulated.
That's right. You're going to edit it this out. Yeah. 40-39. Yeah.
They seem to be joking about not being completely honest about the true depth that they reached. You see him drinking champagne, joking around, and in this moment, he's really comfortable in his own skin, a great man amongst ordinary, lesser mortals. He's soaking it all up. But in another sense, he's covering up the mess of the actual descent by telling the camera crew to edit out some of the admissions about Dive 39 made on camera. At one point, standing right outside the sub moments after completing Dive 39, Stockton role-plays talking to someone on the phone and saying, "If that's not good enough for you, fuck you," and then role-plays hanging up on them. Do you see there is some major chip-on-the-shoulder shit going on here?
For that, I could have easily gone to 4, but why? Anybody who doesn't call it, anybody that called 39-39-4 is an ass. It's like, yeah, that's not good enough. Fuck you.
There's that arrogance Lockridge was talking about recorded on film. So what do you think? Are Stockton's actions A, ultra brave, or B, foolhardy? The issue here wasn't self-awareness. It was, I think, a kind of greed mixed with garden variety hubris. He was brave, very brave, but also foolish, very foolish. And ultimately, doing foolish things bravely isn't really bravery at all. It's stupidity. Of course, his motive wasn't just greatness. It was something far less noble, greed. And greed, like love, can make fools of us all. Greed is just love of money, perhaps also a love of fame. Look at this article from Fast Company, the man who wants to send us to the bottom of the ocean. And here it's made explicit that Stockton didn't really necessarily have a love so much of the sea, but a love of ample liquid assets. Quoting from the article, in Stockton Rush's 2017 interview with Fast Company, he discussed deep-sea mining and its financial incentives. Stockton Rush, more Musk than Cousteau, has a grand plan for the deep sea, beginning with trips to the Titanic. Rush, it turns out, has a lot more in common with Richard Branson than Steve Zissou. While he certainly loves the mystery and allure of the sea, he is also a businessman. That is more integral to his identity. He earned a business degree from Berkeley and helmed a few IP ventures. Who can't help but see the ocean, think about those words, can't help but see the ocean as a vast mass of resources filled with oil and gas reserves, diamond mining, and rare earth minerals to be harvested and profited from. That's the golden carrot glinting to him in the darkness. In the end, though, Stockton gravitated to that resource that there was an obvious appetite for, Titanic, and charged a princely sum while claiming he was making it accessible to all. Hardly. Back to the article. While owning a submarine sounds like a childhood fantasy come to life, for Rush it's definitely a business venture, and he has a clear-eyed vision for how to turn a profit. Just as the hunt for gold helped colonize the West and the hunt for precious metals on asteroids is fueling an interest in space, those deep-sea resources could contain the long-term future of deep-sea exploration. Stockton Rush's taxi service to the Titanic, which Stockton intended to monopolize, was supposed to make him rich, more than famous. Instead, it bankrupted him, while shrouding him in infamy, and we still need to talk in more detail about the nuts and bolts of the financial narrative. It's the money, the fear of losing it, as well as the golden carrot beckoning through that porthole, one feels, that blinded him to the science that lies at the heart of the story. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? Any other thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.